Every time you point a finger at someone else, you give away a portion of your power. You give away any chance of controlling your own situation. How much of your future are you willing to hand over to other people? When you blame others for your situation, when you blame others for your failures, you deprive yourself of many things beyond your own control and power. You also limit your growth. Today, we're going to talk about how to put yourself back in the driver's seat with some examples, actionable steps, and a challenge, of course, at the end. If you want to take your outcome back, listen all the way to the end.
Leaders are not born in a womb. They are forged through heat, pressure, and a whole lot of sweat. The Fire Forged Leader podcast serves the audience through exploring leadership at work, in the community, and with the family, using a practical perspective and real-life experiences from the host, Steve Baumgartner, and his guests in The Forge. Now, it's time to enter the Forge with the Fire Forged Leader.
When you own your own situation, you are essentially putting yourself back in the driver's seat, behind the steering wheel. When you are behind the steering wheel, of course, there's outside influences, but ultimately, you are in control of the direction and the speed of the vehicle to dictate your own outcomes. Now, when we place blame on others or we make excuses, we move ourselves over to the passenger seat. Or when it gets bad enough, we throw ourselves in the trunk, tied up as a hostage. When we are in these situations, we have to rely on someone else to change our outcome. The person who we blame is the person who is now sitting behind that steering wheel. This is what some people refer to as the blame trap. It's called this because we are the ones who get caught in our own trap when we blame other people. Instead of putting ourselves in this trap, let's take the ownership path instead. This is the one where we create solutions and take control of our own destiny. You guys know I work in manufacturing. Anyone who's in this realm knows that the natural go-to is for production to point fingers at maintenance and maintenance to point fingers at production. Guys, I'm guilty of this too. Before I was a general manager, I was in maintenance leadership, and this was a tactic that I used often. Now, being a GM, I listened to person after person with these fingers that point at each other, and it's hard for me to hear. Why? Well, because I have come to realize how detrimental this problem is. For example, if I have a production supervisor who comes in and says, I can't make my orders today because of maintenance, they can't keep anything running. I know that this team is not going to succeed. That person has given up on their team. They've given up on themselves, and they gave away all of their power and control of the situation to maintenance. Let's take this outside of the work area for a minute and talk about weightlifting. Now imagine you're going for your personal record at bench press. You have your spotter there. You gave it your all, but you just can't get that bar back up. Now, what if you go out there and you blame your spotter for that? What if he does an even better job next time? Will you be able to lift it? The answer is no. But if you look at yourself and come to terms with the situation, what now? Now you can look at it and figure out what you can do next time to change the outcome. How about when you get angry and you pop off at your wife? Plenty of people do this. I wouldn't get so angry if you wouldn't have, and fill in the blank. But what if you took ownership of the way that you behave? How would your relationship look then? You know, guys, when we own the situation, we can adjust the speed, we can adjust the direction of the car that we're in. Now, here's a simple 3-step framework that will get you to take back the driver's seat by owning the situation. First, we got to identify and understand. Identify when you are blaming, justly or unjustly, it doesn't matter. And understand that you don't have to give up your power in this situation. Number two is own the situation. This is yours. Gather information, work with your team, and work out a plan. And three is act. Take one immediate action to correct or improve the situation. So let's get back to that supervisor who says they can't make orders because of maintenance. And let's add a little bit of context in. Maintenance didn't set up the equipment on time for the third day in a row. The production supervisor is falling farther and farther behind. Rather than throwing our hands up in the air and giving up our power, let's run through these steps. Number one, of course, was identify and understand. This is the hardest step, but Jocko has a good way of dealing with this stuff. Jocko says, good. It gives us a chance to grow. Good. We can attack it from a different angle. Now, in these situations, I talk to myself inside my head quite a bit. I tell myself things like, Steve, this is what you are made for. Leaders, they emerge in tough times, and a whole lot of other things. Guys, shit's gonna go sideways. Get over it. It's time to deal with it. It's now how we deal with it is how we really show our character. Two, we need to own the situation. At this point, I would go and talk to the maintenance leadership. I would let them know that we are risking orders, and I would like to partner with them to find a suitable outcome. In talking through the situation, I find out that they have been short maintenance people the last couple of days. Great. That's something that I can help with. I talk to them and ask, can I help by supplementing some of my staff? I could get, 2 or 3 people this afternoon to come over and train with the maintenance folks and have them come in early the rest of the week to help the setup. The maintenance leadership at this point is ecstatic with the solution, and they thankfully agree. Which brings us to number 3. Now we got to act on it. Don't waste a minute. We need to get after it. With this situation, rather than pointing fingers and hurting relationships, guess what? We just got to grow tremendously in this relationship in between production and maintenance. Can you see how much more control the supervisor had over the outcome? This didn't come with a ton of hurt feelings or effort, rather, just stepping in and simply leading. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. But what's amazing is that when people find that power in their mind, they also unlock hidden doors of opportunity that they can succeed in. My challenge for you today is to reclaim your power in one situation for a case study. I want you to think of a time this week when you have blamed a person or event or gave an excuse when things weren't going the way you expected. This could be something at work, at home. It really doesn't matter. Now, what I want you to do is apply the framework we talked about. Identify and understand, own the situation, and act upon it. When complete, hit me up on social media and let me know how it went. You can find me at Fireforged Leader. I would love to hear how you jumped back in the driver's seat and took control of the situation. Once again, this has been another episode of the Fireforged Leader podcast. I hope you enjoyed this one on taking back ownership and control of the situation. Now, I would love to hear from you on social media at Fireforged Leader, but don't forget to leave a rating and review and smash that subscribe button so that I keep on coming across your feed. Once again, It's been a pleasure. I appreciate y'all for listening, and go out there and keep on forging your path with purpose and passion.
You have just experienced the heat and pressure of the forge. Remember, words without action are meaningless. Now, after the heat of the forge, shape your thoughts, quench your brain, then put your new tools to use, adding to your leadership. Tune in next week for more lessons from the forge.